I've done it, mate. I am building another board because I'm a guitar player. I needed something that I could like swap modelers, like guitar sounds, and swap the order of things. So I had this smaller board laying around, and then I had some pedals laying around, and I got a couple of duplicates so I could not take from that board. And this is really exciting. Here's the very simple explanation of this setup. So always need a tuner on a board, especially if you're recording. You have got to tune before you record, or you're just going to be out of luck. Especially foundational layers. If you're out on a really cool take or a really cool vibe that you've set and it's something you're going to build off of, you're going to be screwed if you're not in tune. Going into the tuner, and then I'm going to this drop tune pedal. And the reason I really needed this is because I only have one baritone guitar, and it is either here or somewhere else. Can't always have it. And this just will turn any guitar into a baritone or beyond. So tuner to drop, both of these are buffered, which means I am not going to lose any signal. I'm probably going to gain a little signal. It's going to be a strong signal going through the rest of the board. And they're both true bypass, which means when they're off, they're off. It's like they're not there at all. Then to a volume pedal. I might need this. I just had it. It's small. It fits on this board. If I'm going to do any kind of swells, it's really just nice to have. You don't have to have that, but it's nice to have. Then what's different about this board and what's going to come in such handy is that I'm treating this kind of like it's the studio setup. I'm going into my amp modeler from here. So tuner, drop, volume, and then amp modeler. And this is in a spot where I can just easily unplug this and swap it for a different one. I have a really cool piece of gear from the 80s that I'm gonna try out. And instead of having to figure out what to do and mess with this, I can just unplug this, swap it for that, boom. And my power supply is a True Tone CS12. It will automatically send the right amount of power to whatever's plugged into it. That is incredible. Most don't do that. So I don't have to ever worry or figure out if I'm going to get like the right amount of power, or like figure out a power supply and where I'm going to plug that in and blah, blah, blah. Whatever I plug here, it's going to draw what it needs and nothing more, nothing less. And this one has just so much power, I'm not going to run out. And so this board in particular is going to be, McGee has just been like really an inspiration right now. And I'm trying out this Reverb X by Ranger Effects. And the coolest part about this pedal, and a big part of McGee's sound, is that you can set a threshold of volume that beyond this threshold, when you exceed this volume, the reverb becomes distorted and you can like overdrive it. That's brand new. That's just like, you'd have to rig that up in a DAW with multiple, like a noise gate, saturation, and you'd have to do a little bit of a dance to get that. This just does it on its own. And I'm really excited to like play around with that. I don't want to rip off his sound. I really am not even going to go for a McGee tone. I'm sure I'll just do it for fun, but the prospect of being able to overdrive reverb only in a selected place, that's cool. That's going to have a lot of potential for just new sounds and cool stuff. And I'm putting the amp modeler before my wet effects. And I love doing this because it sounds like it's in the box. Like everything, instead of having these stereo effects in reverb and delay, that then run into an amp and become mono and get like summed and like kind of squashed and compressed, and it's a conversion I don't like. Now I get to send a mono or a stereo signal out of this amp modeler into stereo effects. In this case, I'm going mono out of my amp and then mono delay and reverb. And then this Big Sky reverb is going to be just like massive, cavernous, spacious, or tighter, smaller, but I can control the stereo width of that all on this board. And it sounds more like a finished record and like a processed track than it does like not. Yeah, and that's it.